Today is January 15th, 2022. It is Saturday. I have not slept very well. Well, ever. But especially lately I don't know what. I just don't know what, right? I woke up, I slept off and on through the night, and I kept waking up thinking that here I was without a job again, and that maybe I should have been more patient, and that things, at this last job, and so then again, so there I go blaming myself for not being patient enough, and getting upset when I was. Because what happened was, and I've told this story before, they hired me, they deceived me. I moved 900 miles on a job that wasn't even a guarantee, which I was never told, right? Um, but I was the first one hired, or the last one hired, so the first one to go no matter what happened. And it was a community college that was losing money. Um, so I never felt secure. They let me go because of COVID and then hired me back. I was a recall back after being gone for 17 months. They dumped me right back in the position like I'd only been gone a week, right? No retraining, no real help. When I got hired, I was under the impression there was at least a couple of other people working with me. Within the very first couple of days, one of the other people I discovered was coming back off retirement and could only work 19 hours a week, and she disappeared after the first couple of days until I got upset because of the lack of help. And then the other person that was supposed to be working with me got hired out, and so was going to be starting a new job January 1st, right? And I had just started December 1st, so she wasn't even willing to work with me. I mean, I don't think she was getting training pay, so she wouldn't, like, answer my questions or really try to help me at all. Like, she never made me feel like any part of a team. And so I have to remember that. And it pushed me, and I could have been patient, I guess, and just sat there and dealt with it. But, like, I've been doing that all my life, right? And I think that there's a lot of us out there that have been doing that all of our lives, and that's why we're walking away, right? But it's hard. I mean, the job was 17.74 an hour with really good benefits, but and so I feel like had I been able to just stuff the fillings and tolerate it, I I just don't want to have to do that anymore. And I'm just, I know that I'm not the only person right now trying to figure out what to do, but I'm sitting in my life right now by myself trying to figure out what to do. I tried to read the letter that I wrote um, when all this came down really bad. I mean, my supervisor, I think, my impression of her from the very get-go was that she did not want me there, right? I never felt any kind of support from her until I forced the issue. And then it's too late, right? At least for me. I mean, I don't want to have to, it's like I have to practically beg to get what they told me I was going to get when I walked. Well, no, not when I walked through the door. I should have known in my first meeting with them when they asked about me getting retraining and there was crickets. And I said, well, there is procedures, right? And they said, yeah, the old procedures that we had before that were a mess, right? And I should have not gone back right then. That would have stopped me from feeling bad, um, and feeling like I should have done better, right? I should have done better. I should have tried harder. I should have um, been more. When basically I walked in and they threw me in like I hadn't even been gone. And I actually rocked it. I did really well, but I did lose my temper multiple times from being left in that position, right? And so I feel like had I not lost my temper, then I would still have a job for 17.74 an hour with full benefits, right? But would I be a doormat? I was being used as a doormat for the first month and a half. So, should I have been patient to see if maybe I was less of a doormat when they hired a doormat that was less, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. I just want to work, right? I'm gonna read my letter. Maybe it'll make me feel better. All right. Hello. As I stated on Friday, at this time I need this job. There are things that are offered with this position that are important to my family. I discussed this with my son when the position was offered to me because the last time I worked for you, it was very hard on my family. He told me that if I started back, to leave my authentic self at the door or I would be disappointed, that I had grown, but that he doubted that others had. He was correct in this, so I am putting that part of me away. I will, however, do what I need to do to fulfill my commitment to this institution to the best of my ability. I have always taken great pride in my work ethic and will continue to do so. All I was asking for is the same consideration. I keep and have kept my word. In my view, however, only one of us has done so. That is okay. I am used to this. This situation is not unique. I do, however, find it interesting that the current belief is that no one wants to work. It may be that people are tired of being treated as if they do not matter, when in my view, we all do, not just a few. I will still hold up my end with absolutely no expectations from you outside of what my union offers me. I am done believing that any of you care, or for that matter, have any respect for me at all. I am okay with that. I have enough care and respect for myself that I do not need it from you. That said, I want to make my feelings clear. You all emphasize the word team as if I was not using my team members to my fullest extent. I truly appreciate how when there's an issue, it turns out to be my doing. No retraining? Oh, you should take time to read the procedures, 'cause I had time for that. Or, you take on too much, or you need to slow down, or give the work to someone else. Who? To date, many times, there had been only me. Oh, are you worried about who will train the new people? Don't worry, we have it covered. Do you? Who? Who will it be? The same person who helped me? You feel there's no one there for you? Again, that was my fault for not utilizing my team. Oh, you need to send them an email, as Jamie always tells me she's available by email. Or direct them to someone else to take those payments. Find a way to send them to Delwood while still maintaining what you are doing at the moment. But because if it's a payment, it would be better if you find someone to walk them over. Like Jamie, yeah, Jamie, if she's here. And if she's not, then what? Go grab someone else from the back office? By then, I should have just done it myself. So I asked to clarify if this happens today, who do I send them to? Name, a contact, someone I can count on that will respond to me when I need a response? Who is that? Still unclear. I think Vicky maybe? Yeah, that should go over well at 4:45. So again, I'm left questioning what team am I on? And all of this is confusing and muddled. And if all of this is confusing and muddled up, it's because it was. From the start, there was no clear direction. I almost felt if neither Jamie nor Amanda wanted me there. I work hard and I'm a good team member to those who treat me with respect. There was none shown, none. The only person who has been there to support me with any consistency is Susan with her 19 hours a week, which I am grateful for. She does, however, make it clear she is not a real first stop employee and that she was gone after the first few days until I got left alone enough to become overwhelmed. Tell me, do any of you even have my phone number to send me a text for things like, oh, I don't know, when you leave for the day and don't say a word? I know Jamie and Amanda have texted back and forth quite often, discussing things I believe like the color printer. Have any of you once even asked me for my number just in case? And even if you do have it, have you used it? No, but I'm a part of the team. Meredith, you've walked by me on multiple occasions and at least one time since beginning of the school year after our meeting. Did you stop and ask me how it was going? No. Is that the team I'm on? Or Jamie, when I tell you that it was uncomfortable for me on my first day for Amanda to tell me that Vicky had shown her notes from when I was here before, what did you say to me? That's not what I heard. There aren't any notes. Yeah, there were notes. Minimizing my feelings and telling me I did not hear what I heard. This has happened on multiple times, very efficiently minimizing and twisting what I am saying and then blaming me for not communicating. This was the exchange, me to Amanda. I was wondering when you take your breaks so I can plan mine. Amanda, I know they were a big deal when you were here before. Vicky showed me notes from back then. We're all adults here. And it's not just the words, it's the tone and the actions. That was my first day within the first few hours. That team, is that the team I'm a part of? Or how about this team? Me to all of you. The main reason I want my desk away from the door is I do not want students sitting there waiting while I'm working on another issue. You all said to me, that won't happen. We will have people there to guide them. Really? I have come back from my break multiple times this past week to find students at my desk. I do not even have a chance to settle in because they are sitting at my desk. But again, that is on me for agreeing that we should not move my desk the first 2 weeks. Or maybe because once I return, I don't tell them to move. Or maybe because I did not do the job of a team leader and direct the rest of the team to have them sit elsewhere. I have also had students come and sit at my desk chatting with one another while I'm on the phone because I'm the only one out there. But again, that's my fault. I should stop what I'm doing and tell them to move. Or how about on the second day of the semester when Jamie disappeared for the day without a word, and it was only Amanda and I, and she had her phone put on Do Not Disturb until 4 o'clock when she suddenly got an emergency text and had to leave. Again, had to leave again and again. They left me all the time. Was that the team I was a part of? As I said, I am empathetic and understanding, so in these times I was being a good team member. I could see that they were both under a lot of stress, so I let it go again and again. I really wish now I had been documenting their comings and goings, but I did not want to be that person. Now I wish I was. Needless to say, I'm just a little confused how this team works. When I approach any issue, it's my fault for not communicating when I'm speaking to you, or not doing the right way when the only solid direction I've gotten is after the situation I've had to call attention to it and I'm flustered. This makes it very unclear as to what communication you all mean. You don't hear me, and then don't like the words I use when I've finally had enough and need you to hear me. Push, push, push. I find it fascinating that those who put so much value on others' words do not put the same value on their own. They speak empty words with no meaning. Again, fascinating how we can justify these things. Knowing this was going to be a very stressful situation, I plainly told you both, Jamie and Avina, that there may be times when I may need a minute. Did you hear my words when I was communicating that to you? No. Instead, Jamie, what did you do on Friday? You called me into your office and said to me, I showed you this before, but yes, at that moment I stopped you. What did I say? I do not want to get mad. I need to go away for a minute. What did you do? You followed me to my desk stating, I don't appreciate you walking away from me. And yes, that made me angry because frankly, I have not appreciated being lied to either, nor being pushed, and pushed for over a month. I have not appreciated having no direction until I get overwhelmed. I have not appreciated being told when I ask questions that there are procedures for that, or you figured it out yesterday. I have not appreciated being told that I need to come to you when I think the procedures are incorrect, as if I should have known that after being gone from this job for over a year and a half. I have not appreciated being made to feel a fool after weeks of fumbling through those procedures and finally discovered them in some kind of decent order in the Genzabar folder. Then being told in a condescending tone, well, that is the system we use, as if it were my fault that I did not search out the correct folder when I was thrown into the middle of a fire and told to extinguish it with a spray bottle because that spray bottle was provided to me. So that was enough, right? I also find it quite interesting that my professionalism is called into question when I have heard several others on this campus drop the F bomb. I have seen others bring their children on campus and leave them to climb all over the benches in Delwood, speak about personal family issues in lobbies loud enough that I have heard, come into work in leggings looking like they just rolled out of bed. But I am compassionate and empathetic, and I have tried to be a part of the team, so I did not judge for this. How about you? I guess because those people are a part of the SWAT team or family, as I've heard it called, it's okay for them, but not for me. Several of this team you mentioned have sat there and watched me burn. Then several of those same people complain when I've had enough. No compassion, no understanding, just judgment. Is that the team that I'm a part of? Yes, I'm still confused. At the time the record in question was created, it was the first day of the semester. I had a person on the phone. I had two students sitting at my desk chatting with each other. Amanda was on the morning half of her lunch. My authorized.net was not working. The other line had been ringing off the hook with no other team member helping me by picking up. There were over 70 emails. I had been assured I would have help with these things. In that day, that did not happen, and in that moment, it was me in chaos. I had someone on the phone who wanted to sign her and her partner up for judo. I got their names, put them in the system, got her number, and made a time to call her back to complete this process. I am later told what I was supposed to do according to my team members in the business office when I mentioned that my authorized.net was not working. They told me I should have stopped what I was doing at my desk, gone to Amanda's desk, log into her computer, take the payment through her credit card machine. Or, according to my team members in Stencilin Hall, I should have emailed Jamie to have her take care of the students, or directed them to my Laker link. Or my favorite, I should have remembered something that was shown to me on my first day and done it the easy way. I mean, geez, what was I thinking? All would have been okay, though, had I been able to efficiently complete my job. Unfortunately, that was not the case. At the time I had arranged to call the student back, I was once again alone in first stop, dealing with students' phone and payments. No other team member was to be found, so I was unable to call her back at the time we had arranged. But I did leave her a message. She called me back and spoke with somebody and left a message. I called her back, she called me back, etc., etc. I finally spoke with her on Thursday afternoon. She was upset with me because the last message I left her was that I needed to get her information and payment or I would have to drop them from the class. She said she had been repeatedly trying to get through to me to rectify the situation but was unable to do so. So who do you think she thinks can't do their job? That would be me. She does not know that I am in a no-win situation as I've been left to burn alone. At that time, I arranged for her to call me back when she was in a position to do so, not driving, etc. And I'm sure she did, but as I had been directed to stop working and taking calls at 4:45, I was unable to pick up the phone. This was and against everything I believe in, but I was doing as directed, so I had to hear and see the phone ringing, knowing who it was, even stating to my supervisor I knew who was calling, but again being directed to just let it go because they should have called earlier. I have been told that I am a classified employee and need to be off the clock by 5. I have stated that I will not give my time away. I have been told that I should not do so, but I really wish I had picked up that phone. So, yes, Meredith, I did take that on because that is me. I care. When I say I'm going to do something, I try and follow through or communicate why I can't. I do not just ignore it and hope it will eventually not matter. So then came last Friday, 1/7/2022. Whoops, 2021. I put, oh, bad girl. 2022 morning. I am working. It's about 20 minutes after my break. At that time at 10 a.m., Amanda's gone. Susan is not here. There are students and phones, etc. So I have not had a chance to go in and let Jamie know that A, I am once again on the floor alone, and B, I have not had my break. Then I get an email from Anna about these same records I have been trying to fix all week. Yay, way to start my day. No help again, and being called out for a situation that, had I had adequate help from my team members who said they would be there, would not have happened. But okay, again, my bad. Whoop, gotta wake up my son. Alright, where was I? Okay. I hate that I put the wrong date in there. So that came last Friday. Okay, so I emailed Anna back to explain what had happened because, frankly, and so soon, actually, I was tired of tread marks on my back. She then forwarded my response to Jamie, who stated she had the response because she was CC'd in the initial email from Anna, which is not the case. I forwarded the email to myself. Her name is not on the response. She lied about that to me. Imagine. I then called the student. This was the second time that day, and again got her voicemail and explained that I was sorry I did not get to her call, but I had been alone in the office and I could not get to the phone. A few minutes later, Jamie called me into her office to show me a way to put the students into the system that she had shown me before. Needless to say, I was already upset because, and I can't stress this enough, had I been given the assistance that was promised to me, this would not have happened. The position is a busy one, and I understand that, and I have not wanted to keep emphasizing my constant tinnitus. However, had I had the help promised to me, I may not have had to. Or my desk moved over to a quieter area like they told me was going to happen. That didn't happen. And that it clearly did not happen again. And I've been trying to get anyone to understand how difficult it is to concentrate with constant distractions on top of constant noise in your head. I do not expect you to feel bad for me, nor do I expect any help from you. All I've been wanting is some understanding and follow through with the things you said you would do. None, nada, nothing. Team. Jamie also later mentioned the phone call I placed to the student. I guess that's why she appeared to be upset. She thinks she knows what was said on both sides of a phone conversation. She heard me say something to a student and wrongly believes I only said it one time that day. But hey, she knows. She's really amazing. What is funny to me was my solve for this was to ask for approval for overtime, which was shut down immediately, so I could get more done for people who, from my perception, have shown me that the only reason I'm being given the time of day is that they are between a rock, no one to work in first stop, and a hard place, me. That is very comforting, but I have enough confidence and self-worth to overcome this. I am now and always will be a hard worker. In my view, there is a preconceived notion of who I am on this campus, and it is incorrect. In our meeting, Meredith, how did you put it to me that you were okay with me because my interactions by email with you are always okay, or something to that effect, meaning that there were others who are not okay with me. I already knew there was pettiness, excuse me, but it was still a nice way to start out, don't you think? We don't want you to bring your old notions, but hey, let us keep ours. That's cool. I will say that I never have. Make sure. Okay. Um, I will say that I never have, nor will I ever in the future treat others the way I've been treated on this campus. That is not me, but again, no one here knows me, not one person, and no one has tried. That is fine. I know who I am, and I'm quite confident and comfortable in my skin. I do not need approval from any of you, and I would rather not open myself up to disappointment anyway. I have survived this long without others. I will continue on just fine. Again, I do not need, nor am I looking for friends. I was, but whatever. As I said, none of us are alike. However, I believe I am vastly different from the majority of you. Until one of you can come to me and tell me that you have come anything close to pulling yourself up from being taking in by a traveling cult in California, getting strong and running away from that in Denver, ending up on the Florida coast as a homeless alcoholic, pulling yourself up from that only to once again have it taken from you, so finding yourself back to being homeless in California, and now using hard drugs to cope because the people you should have been able to trust repeatedly stole, deceived, physically and mentally abused you from early childhood on, to a woman who quit drinking and drugging to raise her child alone. And I mean alone, as in singular, no mom, no family, no friends, and no coworkers to depend on. Always alone. That's not true. I had a few people, so that was by getting sober, going back to school full time, working two jobs, one full time and one part time, earning a BAS with honors, all done while losing your home to a fire, having several kidney stone removal procedures, having a child have an emergency appendectomy, and again, I can't stress this enough, alone, then finally earning that BOS and going on to look for work only to be offered jobs the minimum institutions could get away with paying, not counting that BAS for much, if anything, at all. That was a run on sentence. Um, all that work, and to date, I get a $50 stipend each month for it. That doesn't even cover the payments, but still, I am grateful. Then one day you realize that you and your family still need something better, so you go searching. You move your teen son and 4 dogs 900 miles, again alone, from Montana to Oregon, only to be told in the first week that at your new job that they were not even sure you were indeed going to have a job, therefore never having any kind of security, but knowing you had to stay at that job because you based many, if not all, of your decisions on the information you had been led to believe. Once again, deceived. And then to be dumped in the viper's den of Delwood. What a mess that is. Anyway. I'm amazed I did not break sooner. Push, push, push. But hey, that's cool. You all were okay, and I came out the other end stronger and better. Again, none of you know me, and I do not know you. I have done my level best not to judge. From my viewpoint, it appears to me that at least some of you have had a fairly easy life compared to many. There are those of us who are not known as the quiet, pretty girl. We were the ones who repeatedly got beat down only to get back up. There is a vast difference between the two. At my first job, when I asked for a raise, I was told to bend over. You all have shown me about the same respect as he did, sad and coming from women. I was 15 on my own and paying rent, so I had to stay until I could find something else. The next job was not better. It was actually worse. That said, I'm grateful that some have been better, but in my view, none have ever been as they should be, and for that I am sad. Some people have worked in jobs for long periods or even the majority of their lives, never having to face that kind of treatment. Lucky them, but again, I am not here to judge. I was just asking for the same consideration. Bringing my professionalism into play for a word that I have heard several of my coworkers use in my view is targeting and clearly sets me apart from the team, don't you think? I have worked hard all of my life only to continually come against situations such as this and people such as you. Neither are unique, and I am tired. I am tired of giving to people who don't care and don't hear. I am tired of thinking this time it will be different. It won't. I would venture to guess that you also believe my dancing at my car is unprofessional too. I do not care. I am going to dance anywhere and whenever I want because frankly, people have been pushing me off the dance floor all of my life. Push, push, push. So I wrote that letter, and then that was on a Friday. And I had gotten really angry, and I was asked to leave, and I did. Again, when I get really pushed into, and I feel like I'm cornered and I'm in survival mode, right? Um, I get afraid, and Elm comes out. And um, and it, let me finish the letter. Anyway, so it was on a Friday, so I got pushed. They said, leave today and you can come back on Monday and it'll be just like, nothing, we'll just start new, right? Is what they said to me. So I did. I went in the Monday, and when I parked um kind of across campus, and walked because I wanted to kind of dance and I didn't want anyone to see me, right? And so I parked further away, like back where they couldn't see me because I knew that already there was judgments, right? But for me, getting out of my car, listening to music and dancing, it like got me going, made me feel good. It's like people go to the gym and work out, but I guess, that's just not how I feel like, yeah. Anyway, so I parked farther enough away that, and I said I was leaving my authentic self at home, right? So I didn't want people to see the authentic me. Like I was trying to just, my professionalism was called into play. So I just wanted to come in, do my job, and leave. So I got there in the morning, and so it was like 2 minutes after 8. Like the doors had just unlocked, and of course, there's nobody there but me. I go to the bathroom, come in, there's people sitting at my desk because there's nobody there but me. Um, and they wanted to register for a class. And turns out it was an Ed to Go class, which is a program I forgot about because I hadn't been there for 17 months. But nobody showed up until 15 minutes later after I'd already like done all this work and tried to find this class, right? And then somebody showed up and I asked them about it. And of course it's like, oh, it's right here. See, right there. It's a to go right at the bottom. I mean, and actually is I thank Amanda for that because that's the first time she's actually come over to the second time, I'm sorry. The first time it was because she pushed me so far that she knew I was about ready to explode. This was the second time that she helped me ever in the month and a half I was there. That was the second time that that woman came over to help me, right? When I asked her a question versus sitting at her just like this and going, oh, I don't know. I think there's a procedure for that. And she was like, halfway across, like it was a big room and she was two desks away from me. I mean, it wasn't like she was just right next to me, right? So I was grateful that she actually helped me that day, but I was also upset, right? Because I had just gotten there. There was nobody there to answer any of my questions. So I'm fumbling around on the computer with people sitting at my desk first thing in the morning after all of this has happened. And I have repeatedly said, you guys keep leaving me alone and I'm not appreciating it. They kept doing it, right? And somehow it ended up to be my fault. And I'm confused by that. But anyway, so I went in that Monday and that's what happened. So, and so I went into Jamie's office to talk to her about it, and she kind of just trapped me in there. She wouldn't let me go. She wouldn't let me say anything really. She wouldn't even let me go get my notes for what she was trying to show me. But she kept insisting that she was sitting across from me when this incident happened. She was like, the incident doesn't matter. But I was sitting across from you when that happened. Well, she wasn't, right? And I knew that. And she had been repeatedly since I started working there. If I would say something to her, she would tell me I was wrong, or I didn't hear it, or I didn't hear it that way. Or my favorite was she was sitting in her office, right? Which was like, my desk is like away from her office, is like down, like feet from where my desk is. But she would sit in her office and listen to my end of a conversation and then come to me and tell me what I should have done or how I did, whatever, comment on it, not knowing the whole conversation, right? And when I would try to explain to her, she would not listen to me. Like she would cut me off and keep going. And I, it just got really tiresome. I just, it got tiresome. And I just think from the get go that she did not want me there. And I think a lot of it might have been because I came in and just rocked it. Thank God I remembered everything. But it was clear that Amanda was tired and just didn't want to be there, didn't want to help me, wasn't getting paid training pays, so she wasn't going to go out of her way to do anything for me at all. And I don't think Jamie just didn't want me there, right? Or I don't know what it is, but she and I never would have meshed, I don't think, because she is controlling and manipulative in my view. And that's not a judgment. I don't judge people like that. If that's what you need to do to survive, that's fine. But I can't work in that kind of an environment, right? Some people can. I'm not going to be one of those. I think what it was is that she had no control over Amanda. She had, and so she just I mean, I don't know what it was. She would be gone the majority of the time and then come in once in a while and try to be a boss. You either are or you aren't. You can't just disappear on your team and or constantly be sick so you're going home and then come back and try to give direction when you haven't given. It just didn't work. It didn't work, and it wouldn't have worked for me. I don't appreciate somebody who um puts the majority of shit off on me and then doesn't even take any responsibility for their part of it. Like, I understand my reactions were probably bad, but I'm glad I read this letter because I was feeling like I should have stayed. And that woman is not going to change. She's pregnant now. God, I feel sorry for the whole situation. So I'm glad I read. I'm going to finish it though. So today I went into work and I stopped in the ladies' room, and sure, I already talked about that. So I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm kind of done with all of this. Um, and then I got a bunch of checks given to me. I think it was the Friday just before oh no, because Christmas break, I think we got out on Wednesday, right? Because Thursday was Christmas Eve. So it was Wednesday. So they bring me in this batch of checks, right? That I'm supposed to input into our system. Well, nobody, the whole time I've been there, not one person went over how to do checks again with me. Nobody. I hadn't been there for 17 months and nobody showed me. Like, Amanda was processing checks the whole time I was there, but not once did she call me over and say, "Hey, I'm over here processing checks. Why don't you come over and watch what I'm doing?" And when I mentioned it to her, what she would do is go like, "Well, yeah, it's like this and this. See right there. Yeah, that's how that's done." And then and I'm just like, "Do you want to try it?" And it's like, well, no, I, no, but anyway, I'm given all these checks. I hadn't been there for 17 months. Nobody went over it with me, but I went ahead and put them in and I got them all done and right. But the problem is at the end of that day, so it must have been Tuesday. It must have been a Tuesday because I did go back the following day because I was there. It was a Tuesday because I had to work that night. I had to clean because I cleaned too. So I had to work that night. So by 6 o'clock, when I couldn't figure out what had happened, was there would be a check for, let's say, $1,000, but it would have to go to like 5 different people because it was like split up that way. Thankfully, I remembered that because nobody showed me that. That was just something that I remembered. That's what needed to happen, right? And so I did that. Well, I accidentally put that check in twice. I put it in once as a whole, and then I put it in as a split. And the reason why was because at the end of the night, when I couldn't, because I had transposed a number, when I was trying to figure out what I had done at the end of the night, I didn't see that check as a whole. So I put it back in again, thinking that might have been where my mistake was because I was off by quite a chunk by anyway. But the next day I went in and I figured it out, but I was upset, right? And because nobody showed me anything. And then later, I guess I was told, what was it? When I talked about those checks, I was told that I should have waited. I should have given them to somebody else. Jamie was gone that whole day. She was gone that whole week. There was nobody, she doesn't even know how to process money. I mean, I cannot understand why this turned out to be on me. And here's the deal. Again, like, this isn't poor me. This isn't, oh, this happened to me. This is continuously happened to me. This is continuously happening to all of us. This is why people don't want to work, right? Because we're put in these positions and treated like garbage. And then it's our fault, right? And I am tired of it. And I don't want to do it anymore. And I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Now I'm laying there in the morning thinking I should have just put up with it, right? Because I was getting 17.74 an hour and I was getting benefits. And I need those things, right? But I mean, you get pushed and pushed and pushed, and then you lose it, and it's your fault. And you know, it's like I was told you don't have to cuss to get your point across. Really, I didn't cuss in the first 3 meetings that we had where I was told I was going to be given things that I wasn't, and not special things, just the things to do my job, right? I mean, fuck. And I guess, I mean, yeah, what happened was I did go in and tell them if that it was my fault that they couldn't get their shit together, right? And it was my supervisors I told that to. So I guess that's what happened. They let you go when you get that angry. I guess I get that, right? I think, I think that people push and push and push, and then they are surprised that you react after pushing and pushing and pushing. And I just don't. Anyway, I got through most of the letter. I mean, and this is the call. This is funny. This is what happened. And I know that, like I said, my supervisor was like, I'm not even worried about that. That's not that big of a deal. Well, to me, it was, right? I made a commitment for my customer service. I said I was going to do something for a customer that I was unable to do because I wasn't giving the tools I needed to do my job. And that customer only saw that I did not do my job, right? Um, so I don't appreciate that. I think that those things need to be addressed. And I think that by putting it all off on me and by saying how I could do it better next time without the same amount of help, of course, right? It's like, no, how you could do it better next time is not hire somebody back after 17 months, gut the whole program, and then expect them to carry you. What the fuck? But that was my fault. Okay. I, and now what to do, right? Today is Saturday, January 15th, 2022. I am allowing myself to dream big, to have faith, and to trust. I am confident. I am worthy. There is enough. I am free to fucking pain and I hate it. I've totally been on mute for I don't know how long. That's okay though, because I've just been crying talking about my crazy. It was actually kind of important what I said right there though, because I'm thinking about like how there's like multiple people inside of me, right? Like I am multiple people. I'm not, it's funny. I watch programs like Project Runway and they're like, oh, what woman, like that doesn't look like the same woman to me. When I would wear all the outfits that were created. So it is the same woman to me, right? Like I don't, I think we're all multiple people. I just don't know if I just don't stuff well, now that mine are out, because as I was saying when I was on mute, um, I, I had to become different people to survive what I was going through, right? I mean, the beatings and the rapes and the emotional and physical, um, just abuse, right? Um, and and those people are all still here. They're a part of me. And now that I'm recognizing, like I recognize that when I got really upset at work, I recognized that was Elm, right? That came out. And Elm is anywhere from 3 to 12. And when she's pissed, there's no pulling her back. Like, it's hard for me to pull her back. And she's not the kind of piss that's going to do anything violent or hurt anybody besides herself. But she is a tantrum thrower, right? I, and it's like, it's like I'm outside of myself seeing it happen and I can't stop it. So how do you move forward with this, right? I mean, I know you get help, but it's like I have been talking to a therapist, and so, and I haven't lately. Like I went back to this job, and I didn't talk to my therapist at all in the month and a half I was there. I probably should have. I don't know that it would have helped because I couldn't. Like, I am so tired of being left to fend for myself and being told that I should have to in situations, well, all my life, pretty much. But now it's like, I mean, they're jobs. You're supposed to receive training. You're not just supposed to be dumped into it and told you should know how to do it and have people demean you and talk down to you because you don't. I mean, at Joanne's, it was horrible. There was a woman there named Des. She was horrible. She was mean and disrespectful and rude and told me that the reason that she um, stayed there was because she liked being the boss, which meant she got off on that power, right? And I don't know. I don't know a lot about the internet. I don't know if I'm supposed to be using people's names, but frankly, I don't give a shit. You were you were disrespectful and rude to me for no reason. What's really funny is that with this woman, right? I went there as a customer before I went in there as before I went to work there. And she was really like seemed kind when I was a customer, which my picker is so broken. Oh my God, my picker is so broken. But anyway, she seemed kind to me when I was a customer. So when I first got hired and I was introduced to her, she like kind of lit up when she saw me and I literally saw her face change, right? Like she was like, and I just saw that, and it was just like, and that, I mean, might be her defense mechanism, whatever, but I was an I didn't, just because I became employee didn't mean I didn't deserve the same respect as I got as a customer, right? And And that was how she was. Like one time she says I grabbed it out of her hands. I don't know if I did, but she was putting fabric down in the thing where we take fabric to put it away. So I grabbed it and started to put it away, and she got pissed at me. Don't grab that out of my hand. I was using that. Did and it's like, and again, this is the same kind of treatment that I've been dealing with for years, all of my life. When I was working at the DOC, I mean, finally, my supervisor, well, not finally, my supervisor pretty early on told the probation officers that they needed to listen to what I said. So that was cool. I got the respect there, right? Because they had to respect me, and I appreciated him for that. He did, however, it bothered him that I couldn't hear. He told me one time, "You really should get a hearing aid," and I wanted to say, "Well, you really should help me pay for it then, because I couldn't afford it." Right? Once they did the scan on me to make sure that it was hearing loss and nerve damage, not some kind of blockage or something, that's all I could afford. I couldn't afford to get the hearing aids after that, right? Because I had to pay for a part of that, and that took all my money. So you know but the thing is I worked really hard for those people for 3 years, right? And I busted my ass, and my lunches were always last, and sometimes my lunches got forgotten, and I always had to okay it with multiple people before I could take any kind of a vacation, because I was the main point of contact, is what they call it, which is the same thing at first stop. You're the main point of contact, because the college has like a directory system, but if you need any other assistance, you push zero, and it took you to first stop, right? Which was me. So it's like you always got to be there, right? So when I did that for 3 years, and I worked really hard, and then I applied for a position that I was qualified for, and they didn't even read my resume, right? Didn't even read my resume. And I found this out because the day that they were interviewing for that position, someone told me they were interviewing for that position, and I got really upset. Um, Ellen came out, but I was able to control her better, I think, because I was in a situation. Well, first off, I had been there for 3 years, so I was pretty settled in at that point, right? And I, when I was raising my son and I had to put up with it, I did. Now I probably I mean, he's the only one working again, which kind of sucks, even though, thank God, I made enough at this job to pay the mortgage for February and March. And then we're still getting, some government assistance, because thank God I didn't stop anything because I wasn't working long enough. But it's just, I tolerated it, right? And anyway, getting back to, they were interviewing that day, and I found out they were interviewing that day, and so I got really upset. So I was sitting at my desk and I was working, but I was crying, right? But I was working, but I was crying, and so everybody could see that I was at my desk working and crying, and I was pissed. And my supervisor, her name was Megan, she was mad that they didn't tell me, that they didn't contact me to let me know that they weren't going to hire me. And so she went to HR and told them that. So HR pulled me into the office, and told me, "Oh, wow, I didn't even realize you had a bachelor's degree." So I realized they hadn't read my resume, right? Because I went to school for 6 years and worked two jobs, and went to school full time for 6 years and worked two jobs and raised a child. And I read the letter to you. My house burnt down. I got kidney stones. He had an emergency appendectomy. I mean, so much stuff happened, and I still graduated with honors. And I worked at a job for 3 years and put in a resume to move up in that job, and they didn't even realize that I had a bachelor's degree. So, yeah, this shit's been happening for a while, right? And these people aren't unique, because it's how society is now. Self-preservation and nothing outside of yourself seems to matter. And I'm crazy, and so it doesn't work with. I mean, it does. I got to make it work, right? But I'm not crazy. Let me rephrase that. I am tired of putting up with it, and um, I realized, like I said, I got angry there. I just sat at my desk and cried. I didn't, like, when I got home, I went off. right? And my son got to witness that. So I didn't do it at the job. Here, I did it at the job because I don't want to hide my feelings anymore, right? I don't, because then I do stuff like I eat a lot of food and then I make myself throw up, or I climb on the top of like I climb up a cliff using roots by myself, or I walk too far out into the ocean, right? Because I'm keeping it all inside. And so then it comes out sideways. And like my family needs me. I'm tired. I don't want to die, but I'm tired, right? And my family needs me. And I finally like love who I am. And I don't know what to do. And so here I am talking to a computer and crying. And it's funny because I remember like my first video that I ever made, it's hidden. And I'm sure I can find it somewhere. But I was sitting in my bed crying, talking about how painful this was. And I do feel like I've grown a lot since then, right? Well, for starters, now I know what's wrong with me. And I didn't know at the time. So that helps. I mean, I've actually been diagnosed with what is it? CPSTD, traumatic stress, post traumatic PTS, whatever. Anyway, um, and I know why I have that. I know I remember things that happened to me when I was really young now. And, so I understand a lot better. And I understand a lot of things a lot better than I did in that moment. So there's something, and it's been almost 2 years, I guess. Um, Maybe I thought I would be more healed by now. Um, the flashbacks didn't come back until probably about a year in. I mean, I was having emotional flashbacks and things were coming to me, but I didn't realize what was happening. So I guess I should say I didn't realize that these were like emotional flashbacks and like the ones where the memories come back and like can overwhelm me. Um, just started. And it's kind of funny because, I've tried to read about it and then I read that, that those can't, like, that doesn't happen. And so I don't want to be confused by it because I know it's happening, right? And I know that, like the other day, I know I had to pull my car over because I know the memory of what was happening to me was triggered by something that my supervisor did, right? And so, I mean, in a way, that's on me for my brain being that. But then the fact that somebody, like, I mean, it was so clear she enjoyed the control she had over me in that moment, right? So the fact that people push you to that far, I just don't, I don't know what to do, right? I mean, I just don't know what to do. I'm hoping I applied for, it's kind of a bummer because this job I enjoyed being able to dress in my own clothes because I find that to be a big part of who I am, right? And I really enjoyed being able to dance on my lunch breaks and come home and play with my dogs on my lunch breaks because it was close enough. And I enjoyed the freedom to do those things. But, like, again, I really don't think that the kind of crazy there and my kind of crazy would work because the kind of crazy there is that the benefits are worth putting up with this, and that doesn't I can't justify garbage, and I can't justify being a doormat for money, right? Or even new teeth, or even being able to hear, or although I might be able to get a hearing aid out of it and some glasses, but I can't justify being made to feel that way for money. And so I don't know what I'm going to do because I have to have money. I have to live. And I don't mind working. I actually enjoy working, right? If I'm treated with respect. But I don't want to spend any more of my life being someone's punching bag or doormat. And I think it's funny because Meredith, the woman that I was working with, didn't see how Jamie treated me, but she told me it was 150% my fault, that I was internalizing it 150%. Um, but she didn't see the treatment, right? She didn't know what was happening. She wasn't there to see me standing there with the phones ringing off the hook and trying to do things. And I heard people comment that I was by myself and that they felt bad about it. And I heard people comment that but nobody spoke up to her and said that, right? Nobody came to my defense and said, well, that's not true. One person said, I feel bad about it. But nobody went to my supervisor and said, you have left this person. We see this, and what you're doing is wrong, right? Um, I don't want to be that person for money, right? I've already sold myself for money. I'm not going to do it again, right? I, so I don't know where to go from here. So I'm talking to a computer. I guess I'll do a read, do my artwork, get some stuff ready to sell. I have to go clean either today or tomorrow, which I hope I didn't blow that job too by going and telling the manager that my supervisor sucked because she's a pedophile defender. What else can I say besides that? um, and yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta judge that. I can't be okay with that. That's not okay, right? There are some things that happen and that are not okay. So I by trying to do what is right for me, I see how people end up homeless, right? I understand that. I can't. I've got 4 dogs and a child who count on me. So I can't do that. And I don't really want to live in bushes again. I've been there before. So I guess, I thought that the college would be the least of all the evils, but it just wasn't. It wasn't. That person that got that power from making me stay in that room and coming after me, and when they couldn't even be there to do the job, I just I couldn't do that, right? Not for the money. I couldn't do that. So I'm glad I talked it out again this morning instead of blaming myself again and my mental illness for this. Because if you're treated right, then those things don't happen, right? At least for me. If I'm treated right, then those things don't happen. Or if I let myself just not care. And in some instances, I can just not care. But in that instance, I couldn't because we're talking about people's lives. It's a college. The fact that I was supposed to do my job and not care is what really blows me away. Like I was expected to do my job and not care at a college. Okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and then do a read and then do some artwork. I'm just exhausted. I love myself though, so there's that. Even my crazy. Yeah, I haven't even really talked to my son today because I'm just so, I don't want to, I don't know. I'll feel better after I do this read. So I'm just going to do a short one because I want to go talk to him before he goes to work. Um, so, all right. Today, third time's a charm, right? Today is Saturday, January 15th, 2021. Welcome to my reading of I Am Affirmations. I am allowing myself to dream big, to have faith, and to trust. I can't do this right now. All right, I will try again later. I am holding myself tall, core strong, shoulders relaxed, head high, and mind's eye open. I put my hands to my heart and feel the warmth and the life force that I am generating. I am radiating positivity, gratitude, and kindness into the universe. In this moment, I am grateful for everything, but especially you, beautiful soul. Peace out. I'll be back later. Hope I'm not chasing anyone off with my crazy. Elm, Shay, Donine, who else is there? I know there's more.